My name is Karl-Erik Norrman. I have been a Swedish ambassador for many years. Now I am lecturing as a professor at the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy, ICD, in Berlin. It's about cultural diplomacy, and that has been a passion for me for many, many years. The expression itself is relatively new, but the concept, the idea of speaking, having a dialogue rather than a confrontation is a very old one. Humanity has tried this for centuries, for millenniums, and this is still very much a priority of our institute and our students coming from the whole world. I'm very happy to have people from the Middle East, from Asia, from Africa, Latin America, North America, and Europe as the students. And we are trying to look at various instruments and ideas about how to promote cultural diplomacy in today's world. As you all understand, we have a difficult time promoting these ideas, the peaceful way of international cooperation and personal cooperation in a time of conflicts. We in Europe are very much engaged in the war ongoing between Russia and Ukraine, and also on the terrible war going on between Israel and Hamas. And we sometimes forget that there are even more wars. There are more than 30 wars going on in the world right now. And of course, you could say that in times of war and so intensive conflict, cultural diplomacy has a difficult time. But we must not give up, because we have so many examples, and Europe is a good example of that, how enemies can become friends, how with some effort we can start trying to understand each other. And the very long conflict, for instance, between Israel and Palestine, is something which, of course, is of great interest to all of us in Europe. I remember when I was a very young diplomat, I happened to have an ambassador as the boss who had just had the UN mission to try to mediate between Israel and Palestine. And he said, "Karl-Erik, I'm afraid I will never experience a real peace between these two partners. And I'm afraid you might not either, because it's so deep and it will take so much effort to do it." And that is, of course, probably one of the most difficult conflicts in the world to solve. But still, we see that there's so much goodwill around neighboring countries in the Middle East, and we also see that there is so much goodwill around the world to solve other conflicts. And we have, of course, the United Nations, which should be a guarantee for peace and cooperation rather than conflict and war. And we still take a strong confidence in the United Nations' possibilities to solve the conflicts. But it takes patience. And we should use all the beautiful instruments of dialogue, of understanding. I can mention the sports, football, which is a bigger religion than any other religion, it seems, among its fans. We can take the music, we can take the arts, or we can even take the fashion or the cuisine diplomacy as an example. If we sit together at a table and try each other's food, it's a wonderful way of reaching understanding and trying to also understand the culture of the other, so to say. So all these instruments, they are at hand and they are possible. In the worst time of conflict, the two partners of the conflict sometimes refuse to try the other side, even to accept that there is anything like a reasonable culture on the other side. But they will sometime accept this, and there have to be, if we can only avoid one of the greatest threats in today's world, namely fundamentalism, extremism. If people try to see the aspects and the arguments of the other, then we have the possibilities for dialogue. So we have to be very careful about fundamentalists, and the best way of avoiding that is education, that people already from school learn that others have other ways of living, and to respect that, and to find possibilities to combine these ways of living together. So through more education, particularly for the women, because they are most often close to their children. So if we can rely on a safe education through the whole period of school and up to university, we will have a better world.